Okay, I'm pretty excited about something I was working on today, yesterday a little bit. Initially, when I wrote my first, I don't know if it's my first app, but when I wrote an app early on, I needed to write a custom login authentication because what you get delivered with Oracle doesn't really look and feel like your typical SaaS authentication login, and maybe I just don't know how to fully use it, but I built my own and have been using that. And if I can get off of that and go with something that Oracle provides, I'll do that. And I do need to go back and revisit that. But it was initially a copy of basically what Dimitri built here. So I want to give him credit for all the initial work and thinking this through. And what we have is you have all of the things that you need for logging on and managing passwords and all that on a single page. And so I kind of abandoned this as I'm working on chart density because this was kind of complicated. But I've gone back as I've had to get SuperLoser up and running on the Oracle free tier just to get this made available again, mainly as part of a portfolio that I can show people of my work. I had to get this working with my changes to the authorization, and as I did that, I found a lot of ways to simplify this, and now I'm really liking this. And in fact, I'm really liking this pattern. The wizard pattern is probably, the wizard utility, I'm going to guess, is something like this. It works really well. When you, well, I'll show you how it works. We'll get into some detail here. But basically, when you say click register for free, it actually is going to redirect to itself and just set the value, a value for a hidden field, which tells a dynamic action, what field should I be displaying to the user. And I've brought a lot of the code that was kind of buried in SaaS auth and made things a little more abstract and complicated and brought that up. So now you can kind of manage all your options from this one page. So if you want to use K2, you just import this page and then basically set all your options here. There are a few options that would be set in your SaaS auth config file, but a lot of the stuff, the details can be done here. And I think that helps, and I'll show you some of that. Now, this is not complete. I want to show you what I was doing. So I thought through some of this today, and sorry if that's a little blurry. Let me zoom out, maybe be a little better. These are all the things you kind of have to deal with when you're logging in. If you can't read the handwriting, I'm going to go through this for you. So we have a login, which may be enabled or disabled. And so you may be disabling it for maintenance, and you kind of need to do something with that, let the user know that it's disabled. Now Apex has that. I think just basically you can bring the whole site down, but I just put it in here because if you're not going to do it that way, if you're going to do it that way or not do it that way, you might want to know. Logins may be disabled. Well, I don't know. So anyway, potentially you got a state here of enabled. You may have a rate limiter on the front, so it doesn't really matter what account they're trying to log into. Every login attempt, you may have a rate limiter, and you probably want one so that if somebody was to write some code that was going to try to guess accounts and passwords, that would be pretty frustrating for them because the rate limit would be for humans it would be imperceptible, but anybody trying to write some kind of automated attack, a rate limiter is going to be very frustrating because it's going to just really slow things down. I mean, so some kind of rate limiter should be built in, and we do have a way of doing this in ArcSQL, and I do have a rate limiter in here somewhere. I am going to expose that and bring that back up to the top so that it's in this page and you can more easily set it and see it and change it. We need to determine on all these actions what information we're going to leak or not leak. So, when you send someone throws an email in for forgot pass, if you throw an error, they might presume there's no account. And if they put another pass in and it doesn't throw an error, they're like, this person has an account here. So for forgot pass, the best practice is basically to say, send a message that says, hey, if you have an account here, we just sent you an email. And that way we don't leak anything. So you need to think about all that, all the errors. Some of these errors you want to track, if they're putting in valid values for forget pass, that's technically a security event, and you want to log that as a security event. So our one page needs to handle all this stuff, and it does or will. So login, no account. Login, at a rate limit for a specific account. So there might be a rate limit overall, which is, more generous, but a rate limit for a specific account, we might add, a 3-second delay between attempts at the same account or something like that. Require a 3-second delay or something. Sometimes you just put a sleep in there, and that's all you need. You put like in Oracle, it would be DBMS sleep. You just make add half a second, and that way, you imagine if you try to do it 1,000 times, that's going to take 500 seconds, which was pretty slow actually. And you should be able to, at that point, kind of auto lock the account or something like that, or so. When they log in, it'll be if the account is active, it may fail or succeed, maybe a bad password or something like that. It could fail because of other reasons, an error. If the account is inactive, meaning it has not been verified, well, what are you going to do? Are we going to redirect them to verification? That might be an information leak. If the account is locked, are we going to tell them it's locked? Or are we going to maybe send an email to the account quietly and say, hey, this account's locked. Looks like somebody's trying to get in. Here's what you need to do, unlock it, or here's why it's locked. If they forgot their pass, again, they can fail or succeed. You may put in a good pass, a good user account, or a bad one. What are we going to do? They may have forgot the email. If they forgot their email, there's not much we can do if the email is the password. They would have to contact support. So you need to have some way of doing that. And so I'm thinking I'm going to even add, some generic contact here that would log to, probably just log to ArcSQL log. The ArcSQL log is a great place to put information like that, and then you can automate that stuff to go to emails and stuff like that pretty easily. So it's a very simple contact form that you could use here or not. It would be optional. So then when they attempt to change the pass, that could fail, succeed. Anyway, you've got, then there's invite only. So maybe they want to go to register, but you're going to have invite only. Maybe say you need to request an invite, or you need to provide a code to register. So that I want to have something like that built in. And that you could have set up for auto approve, which means, we kind of make people jump this little hurdle that lets them know that they're in a limited group of some sort, even if it's auto approved. You could even add a delay. You could say, auto approve after 8 hours, just to kind of give the perception that somebody's looking at it if you're not looking at it, and you could approve it earlier. So, maybe we need to have some way to look at of that, and that could also be on the same form right here. We could have a form that is only available to admins, and we show some buttons that pop up that is your auto approve. So it's all on one page. It's actually a great design. It's really easy to change your button colors all at once too, as opposed to jumping around from page to page. So things like that, changing the formatting, it's a little easier. So this is all to say that initially I liked it, then I didn't like it, and now I like it again. Let's go look at some of the things that I think are a lot simpler now on the design. So if we go to processing, you can see I've got a process if you're logging in, if you're registering, if you forgot your password, if you are changing your password because you've got the token from the forgot password, or if you're verifying your email from registration. And then we have different branches here. So if we could log in to go to the verify page, but we may go to log in to, edit the page you want to direct to here. So log in verify we are just have a server-side condition that says, if the account status is inactive, then we got to verify it. So it's up to you after you create an account. So if we go to register and we, so if we go up here to register and look at the code, well, let's just walk through this. So user comes to your site and they want to register, okay, and they enter their information, they click the register button. So what we do is we're going to call create account. Now, if this account already exists, again, what happens? Like I said, this is not complete. I think this does deal with that, but I don't know that I want to deal with it there. I think I would rather throw an error if the account exists here and have you check that right here. So that's probably going to be something I add. So then this is creating the account. And then we set the account status to inactive. Now it defaults to inactive, but if I wanted to, just put it here because it's easy now to like, oh, I want to change that to active actually. And if you want to, again, instead of embedding the email in the SaaS auth package, I'm just going to show you how to quickly create a token and send an email. And you could always just comment this out and write your own package and call that, in your app if you want to customize it. But here we're using K2 token servers to just create a token. It is important that we pass in that user ID to, this is optional, but we do want to know, we're going to use that token to figure out which user it is later. So we need to have that user ID there. And it's a 6-digit token, so it's 3 bytes. And then we'll do an app send email, and we're going to, real simple message here. So that's what happens when you register. I'm going to cancel that. Okay, so after you've registered, we're going to either go to the verify page or the login page. So it's verify if your account is inactive. If your account is active, it just takes you direct to login. And then we also throw up, thanks for registering. Please log in with the credentials you provided. You may need to verify your email first. So easy enough for you to change that. Let's go to verify. So they go to the verify page and they enter their token. So we're going to assert that it's a valid token. This is going to throw an error. Of course, if they're not a developer, they're just going to get an error code processing this request. We don't care if they try to guess tokens, although we could rate limit this too. So maybe that's important. So that's why I've got this paper here, because I need to go through all this slowly and add all this stuff. It's still going to take a little time. I'll be working on that next week. So, so we assert if it's a valid token, this raises an error if it's not. And then we grab the token row if it's valid, and we can use that to get our user ID. And we set the status to active in SaaS auth. So you can see I'm exposing a little bit more of the code to you, so you can kind of see how SaaS auth works. And once we do that, we can go from verify to the login page. And I don't think there's anything preventing. That's just this page, and we just set the this all how all these work, most of them. We just set the this region value to login, and then this dynamic action here runs some JavaScript, and this is the JavaScript. So it just takes that value, and if it's register, we do this. So it's pretty simple. So I'm not going to go through everything. Here's our forgot password. Again, we send an email. We need to make sure we have a user ID. I'll be commenting this, and as I implement this, I'm going to go ahead and implement this in chart density after I get SuperLoser up and running and get a domain map to it again. So we have our processes, we have our branches, we have just a couple dynamic actions now. I got rid of a lot of validations that were causing problems. Things get validated on the back end. I'm not sure all these key presses work. We need to look at those. That's just so it makes it more convenient. You can hit return and things work. And that's it. So once I get this working next week, I will delete all the super loser specific stuff, and I will create an export. So basically it'll be something that doesn't necessarily work, but all you're going to want is this one page. Also, so I was able to get rid of this verify page because this is here now. So that'll be available, and K2, it'll be on whatever current branch of K2. I think that's all I've got to cover in this video. Yeah, okay. So, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend. Happy Easter, and we will talk to you next week.